Whoa. Yes, we're live at last. Now, I need to get a 5x5 audio and visual check first before we continue. Just looking at the chat. Need to calm down. Coffee's buzzing through my veins right now. Right, we're waiting. Yes. Not today, Satan. Yes. Awesome. Right. We're good. Right. Okay. This is a monumental live stream for from myself and indeed for this YouTube channel. Okay. Before we crack on, if you're new to this sort of information, please try as best as you can to remain open-minded. Okay. Now, I am expecting lots of trolls on this, whether it's the replay or live. So I've added lots of new moderators tonight. You're probably going to notice the blue spanner next to your name. And we are going to be operating zero tolerance on trolls. Any negative stuff, you're going to be put in a timeout. If it continues, the moderators have got my blessings to boot you out. Okay, we just haven't got time. Speaking of time, I believe that now is the time for this sort of message, as it were, to get out there into the masses. I said to myself a long time ago that if I ever reached 100,000 YouTube subscribers, I will start literally telling it how it is. So it's taken a while. 14,000 extras come along. But something is telling me inside that now is the time. So like I always say on this channel, trust your intuition or instinct. And it's exactly what I'm going to be doing now. Now, the thumbnail does suggest some pretty grim readings. So if you are sensitive or you're not in that right place, it's probably not a good video for you guys to watch. If you are intrigued and you feel ready for this sort of information, stick around. So we are going to say welcome to some new members. Awesome. And that is growing really good. Now we are going to be getting into the nitty gritty in about 10 minutes time. Okay. So if you're watching on the replay or if you're watching live and you want to go make yourself a cup of tea, etc., now's a good time to do it. Okay. So what we do usually on the live streams, we do every single Friday here in the UK at 9 p.m. without fail. Okay. There's something catastrophically crazy goes on where I can't do it, but that is what we're going to be endeavoring to continue. So yes, so what we do is we do this sort of thing, waiting for the late arrivals because not everyone can make it live. Already we got 721. Now that is pretty astonishing. Thank you ever so much. So welcome to the new members and the new moderators as well. This is a really good community. If you're new here, you're going to feel very welcomed by our locals and our regulars who are in the chat. And some of them have progressed to members. If you fancy it, that's available right now. So 61 new subscribers this week. Now that is very low compared to what I have been getting, especially this year. On the highest, I've got about 9,000 subscribers every week, and it was going crazy. Now, it seems to be that the stuff that I'm talking about, YouTube is doing something. We've already talked about this. There's other platforms. Okay, so for you 61 new subscribers, this is my livelihood. This is how I earn a living doing YouTube stuff. It's taken me a long time to get here. My hand was forced in a sense. So it was either do this or just don't do YouTube and just do normal work, which is what I was doing. But I believe that I'm here for a reason. I'm here to help and to spread the word. Okay. So yes, it is donation funded. So if you can, everything you're going to need to know is below this video in the description box, and all of the usual stuff in the chat is available with super stickers, that sort of stuff. Okay. Also, a newsletter. If something does happen to this YouTube channel, it gets removed, blocked, or whatever it is. In the description box below, there is a newsletter which you can click onto, sign up. It's free. it's absolutely fine. And I'm trying to do a newsletter every single week, giving people the heads up with stuff that doesn't go on YouTube and information. Okay, so that's very well doing. Also, there is an email address below this video if you feel you need to contact me about anything at all regarding what I'm talking about. Please feel free to email me. That's absolutely awesome. Also, by popular demand and request, lots of people wanted to know, have I got a PO box? Yes, I have. So if you do want to send anything, that's fine. That is below this video too, right at the bottom. Also, there is a load of links to do with what we're going to be talking about this evening. So if you want to sort of dive deeper and check in your own time after this video at some point, them links are there to help you covering everything which we're going to be talking about. Yes, they are all official links. They are all official. So they are from the World Economic Forum, United Nations, and the UK government. It's all truth. It's no BS, okay? So another thing which is quite interesting is a joke. Now, what is the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 6 months. That is proven to work out exactly how I just said it, okay? It's very crazy. Yes, we are indeed living in bonkers time, and like the thumbnail suggests, we haven't got much time, and we are going to really go into that, okay? Like I said, some of it might be unnerving to some of you new guys. Some of you old hats will probably get some of it, but hey, we're all here to learn, and we're all here to help each other, which is the fundamental reason of this channel. So whilst we're waiting for extras to turn up, we are going to very quickly, and I'm not going to spend much time doing this, okay? We would like to know where you guys are indeed watching from. So whilst you are doing all of this, yeah, I fully expected it. I said to a friend of mine before I come on air tonight that in the chat, and it's already happening, okay, some people are going to know what I'm talking about. Some people are not going to have a clue. So I personally woke up, I know it's a cliche term, back in 2008. Some people woke up yesterday or today or last week and everything in between. And some people woke up a lot longer than me, okay? So everyone is at their own levels and their own stages of understanding, knowledge and experience into what we're going to be talking about, okay? So I'm asking you to try and be an adult. Don't be a child. If there's any trolling, like I said, the moderators are going to be all over you like a cheap suit, okay? So if we can all understand on that, then absolutely awesome, and we can continue. So whilst we're looking at where you guys are from, because we've got over 1,000 already. This is insane. We've got Helen from Malvern. That's awesome, because I'm seeing Jeff buys cars next week. He's coming over from there. Liscard, Cornwall. We got a Cornwall flag and another Cornwall flag there, a scarf. Yes, hit the like button. That really, really helps. 4x4 fella. Don't worry, guys. We are going to be getting into this very shortly indeed, okay? I know some of you guys don't like to stick around and they get bored. That's fine. It's your call, okay? Oh my God, 1, 1, 1, 1. Wow, all 4 ones. Some of you guys know about numbers. 11, 11, 22, 22. Yes. We have got a nice blend, I believe, in the comment section and indeed in the community, which is awesome. And we're going to touch on that a little bit. That's awesome. We got Ruth over in Cheshire. Awesome. Wow. I slowed the chat down for every 30 seconds. Maybe I should have done it longer because this looks like it's flying by. That's awesome. I love that comment. Yeah, that was a trigger point. That definitely helped me, but it took me a few years to understand it. So, yes. Wow. Have you got anyone? There we go. Look, we got someone from America. Sorry, Canada. That's Michael. Awesome. We got Mary. Hi, Mary. Always from POWYS. Brilliant. So we have got a good mixture by the look of it. Here we go. Dave from over in Michigan. United States of Kiss My Ass. Absolutely. Brilliant. Have we got anyone for Texas in there? Because I love Texas. I'd love to go there. Not far from, yeah, I've got Ian from Georgia. That's Northwest Georgia, because Georgia's a big place, just like Texas, really. Texas is huge. Who else have we got? Wow, this is good. Look at that. 40 years ago. Brian, you are very, very welcome here, sir. Absolutely 100%. That's really good to see. We got Valerie from Colorado. We have got Pork Chopil from Kent. Awesome. Oh, look at this. We got someone from Finland. Impi. I'm probably butchered that. I'm really sorry. We got someone from Kansas, Christopher. Kathy, way down in Brighton. And yes, I could literally be here all night, but we're going to cut that short. We usually run that for 5 minutes, but we have reached the numbers already, which is fan-bloody-tastic. Now, something, let me just remove that. We take that away. Something new which we're going to be doing all of the time on the live streams is we're going to be having live intel with the latest of what is going on. And this one is quite interesting if you want to have a look at this. Yes, the current world population. Insane. Now, obviously, this isn't entirely accurate, but it's probably the best that we got to go by. Okay, I want you to look at this area here, the deaths and the population growth. So it's looking pretty much 50-50. Someone's born, someone dies. Insane. Absolutely insane. Wow. Population growth this year. Look at that. Wowee. That's insane. So yes, as you can tell by this clock that's ticking away, it's the current world population. So that's that done. We go back to the chat. What else have we got here? Also, just briefly, we are going to share this. We do this every time. It's just a formality, really. This is from MI5, the Secret Security Service here in the United Kingdom. The terrorism threat levels. As always, it's been like this for a while now. Substantial here in the UK, and over there in Northern Ireland, it is absolutely the same at severe, which is one above. Here are your levels here. Okay, so that is what the Secret Service are putting out publicly. Okay, so let me remove that. We have been making notes like crazy about this. So we are going down to Agenda 2030. Okay, absolutely. Now, we're looking at this. This is from the United Nations. And if you look at the words, they're using the word determined on all of these. Okay, so we're looking at people, the planet, prosperity, and peace. So this is from the United Nations' own website. I found this quite interesting, the top one. We are determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions. How odd, dimensions. And to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential. Wow. So yes, fulfill our potential in dignity and equality and in a healthy environment. So we're not going to read all of that. And the next thing we're going to look at . Right, actual fact, we'll cancel that. Bear with me, guys. This is just about to drop right now. So we are going to look at, where did I find it? Yes, I remember now. Right, okay, I just found it. This is what we're going to be talking about this evening, all right? So here we go. Right. So when you go into a search engine, we're using Google for obvious ease. World population prediction 2030. As we saw, it's 8 billion and counting at the moment. So if you scroll down, if you look at this section here, 8.5 billion. The world's population in 2015 stands at 7.3 billion. Okay, so that's jumped already, obviously. And it's projected to increase to 8.5 billion, there we are, in 2030. Okay, 8.5 billion. So when you do the maths, and we're hearing a lot of talk about 2030, okay, who has heard or seen of this here? Yes, if you don't know, this is the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, so when you look at some of the text which is written on here, this is quite interesting. Maintain humanity under 500 million, which is $500 million, obviously, in perpetual balance with nature. So if you do the maths, the projected at 2030 is 8.5 billion. So yes, it does appear that that is on schedule for 2030. As crazy as it sounds. Okay, right, let's have a look at this. So like I say, not everyone is understanding what I'm saying. Some of you guys probably do already, and I'll completely get it. Okay, so let's go over to here. Georgia Guidestones. So there we are, from 1980 to 2022. Now, last year they were destroyed. We're going to go on to that in a little while. Okay, so all of this is quite fascinating reading, whether it's accurate or not, but the construction. Now here we are. In June 1979, a man using the pseudonym Robert C. Christian, or R.C. Christian, approached the Alberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans and commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass, calendar, and clock, and should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. The man reportedly used the pseudonym as a reference to the Christian religion. Christian said that he wanted to build a granite monument that would rival the British Neolithic monument Stonehenge. He drew inspiration from the structure after he paid a visit to it. However, we read on a bit further on. Now, this was done very, very carefully. Okay, now it looks here, if I can find it, this piece here. Christian claimed that he represented a group which had been planning to construct the Guidestones for 20 years and wanted to remain anonymous. 20 years of planning. That is an awful long time, and it's not just one person. There was a group of people. Okay, 20 years of planning. Now, the weird thing is, if you look at the date, let me see if I can pull that back up again real quickly. I think it was in 1980. Here we go, on the 6th of July. Oh, sorry, that's the bloody reverse. It did say the date that it was done. There's so much text here. I'm trying to skim read it. Here we go. On March, the 22nd of March, 1980, right, this was unveiled. Okay, so if you look at that date there, March 22nd, 1980. Then we go over to look at what was going on that exact time. A planetary alignment. This was precisely that time that this was unveiled. Moving forward, they got destroyed last year. Okay, now the weird thing is when that got destroyed, it was insane. It really, really was insane. Now I wish I found, oh man, where did I put it? Now the timing of that was very, very important of when that got destroyed. Now you could write books about how that got destroyed. There's so many theories of all of the stuff which was going on with precisely when that was taken down. Okay, there's lots of theories and all that sort of thing, but no, very, very strange how all of that sort of stuff was playing out. Okay, so that was that. So we go over to Agenda 2030 then. Now, if I can find this. Live action roleplay, 100%. Right, here we go. Cool, we found it. We're in. Here we are then. This is live from the United Nations website. Transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Now, how many of you keep seeing that word sustainable? It is everywhere. It is probably one of the most common words that we are finding with what is unraveling. Okay, so basically what you see, it's usually the opposite. This is what we saw earlier, by the way. So this is real. There is an agenda, and their vision in these goals, sustainable development goals, as we have been uncovering in previous videos. Yes, it does. In fact, what I did do is at the bottom of this video, there's loads of links going into that, and we could spend an hour just going through that one single release document. Okay. So let me just have a look at this one quick. So, like we saw earlier, when you see sustainable, this is today, this is current, this is from Collins English Dictionary. Okay. You use sustainable to describe the use of natural resources when it is kept at a steady level but is not likely to damage the environment. Okay. Now, let me tell you this. This might blow some of you guys away. This is taken from today. We have already spoken about what they are doing with history. I have some dictionaries here, if I can just show them. Very old dictionaries, okay? I love words. This is my favorite. This is a very rare, very old dictionary. In fact, I'd like you to guess how old this book is. We're going to come to it in a sec. So yes, dictionaries, words, history is being erased, modified and edited as we speak. So we just looked at that one today. This is from a dictionary, 1962. Sustainable, that may be sustained or maintained. No word at all of the environment. We're going to go back to 1931. Okay. Sustain. There is no such word as sustainable back in time. Excuse me. Bear weight of, keep from falling, enable to last out, undergo, suffer loss. Uphold, decide in favor of, keep up, and then it goes into sustenance. Okay. Going to that little book, this one here. 1790, one of the oldest dictionaries that I could find. This is an excerpt from this dictionary. Sustain, to bear. That's it. There is no hint of anything to do with environment, like we see how it's being described now as an adjective. Absolutely different. Okay. It absolutely blew my mind when I started looking into that sort of stuff. So when we spoke about the population number now, the suspected population growth by 2030, and I want you to watch this video. Now, I spent ages trying to get this video from my phone onto this computer. I tried for about half an hour. Usually it would take me probably less than 30 seconds. Something did not want me to get that onto my computer, but I finally done it. I had to edit and turn the volume up at the end. Now, apologies for the sound quality of this video you're going to see, all right? Because the guy who was filming it had his dog in the background outside playing around and just making a noise, but you can hear it. And I might play it a few times. You might have to turn the volume up, okay? Now, we have already spoken about the monitoring and the surveillance with Alexa, okay? If any of you have Alexa right now who are watching, turn it off. I'm going to give you some time, okay? Hopefully you guys haven't, but you never know. So I'm going to play this. Now this is quite unnerving, okay?
Alexa, is that a depopulation agenda?
Domains.com, Agenda 21, and the recent ones Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2050, is a plan to depopulate 95% of the world population by 2030.
Yes. I know. It makes my skin go funny when I hear that. In fact, we're going to play it again just in case you missed it.
Alexa, is that a depopulation agenda?
Domains.com, Agenda 21, and the recent ones Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2050, is a plan to depopulate 95% of the world population by 2030.
Yes, 95% of the global population by 2030. That is what is going down. And I know it's a scary thing. And like I'd done with the thumbnail, I managed to work it out in months. And yeah, it sort of makes it a bit more urgent, shall we say. Okay, you start saying 6.5 years, you think, oh yeah. But when you break it down into months, it really focuses the mind 100%. So 500 million people left. Yes. Who is going to be in that 500 million left? Well, some people will probably say the elites, all of that sort of thing, okay? But stick around and hi Rachel, good to see you. Yeah, stick around and you're going to be finding out stuff about this sort of thing, okay? So how are they going to do it? How are they going to get rid of 8 billion people? How are they going to do that in 78 months, I think it was? That is pretty much a huge undertaking, okay? I did have a video of Bill Gates talking about his thing with you know what, but I was worried about putting it on here in case it got deplatformed. Excuse me. So yes, we have seen all sorts of I believe it's going to be a combination of things. I don't think there's going to be one thing which is going to do that. I think it's going to be a multiple number of things. Now, when I was looking through the UN website earlier, the things which stuck out was that it was linked to the WEF. Now, most of us know this anyway, but if you're new, the WEF are the World Economic Forum. Okay, and the things which stuck out on there was migration, climate, and I think money or finance. Those three things, I believe, are going to be used to bring this nightmare into play. And already, I mean, yesterday we've done a live stream about migration and the impacts and effects which is happening here in the UK, not just here, but Europe and indeed in America as well. Okay, climate. Now, obviously, there's all sorts going on with the climate. Now, many of us have spoke for a long time about all of this, that I believe that the majority of us, especially here in this community, firmly believe that human beings have nothing to do with the changing of weather patterns. Okay, if you removed everyone from the planet, the weather would probably do exactly the same. But there is certain things in the technology scope which you can manipulate weather. Some of you guys, I get it, understand this, but there's many people here watching won't have a clue what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Try and be respectful. Try not to let your ego run away and say, oh, I know all this is boring or whatever. Like I say, the trolls, honestly. In fact, speaking of trolls, we got an interesting drink. Okay, so we're going to do that in about half an hour's time. But no, there is many things which they are probably going to use to their advantage to bring this plan or agenda into fruition 2030. So fighting each other, which I've wrote down. Now that is classic. Okay, absolutely, people are going to be fighting each other. They're already doing it. I mean, how much division are you seeing out there right now? How many people are fighting each other? Whether it's social media, whether it's physically, whether it's what's going on in Ukraine, potentially what could go on with China, Taiwan. Look at that. I think that's the first donation. Thank you, Survival Man. It's awesome. There's lots going on, okay? And there is going to be wars and rumors of wars like there always has been, okay? We are in a cycle. That's the bluntest way to put it. History repeats, okay? It really does. And it does take a long time to research and find out what has happened in the past. And you can see categorically the similar ideological footprints leading up to events which are repeated. 100%. You see patterns. You really do once you start looking into it. Another thing is food, water, and air, which I've put down. Now, contaminated, bioengineered, of course. Look what they put in the water system, fluoride. Now, if you don't know, fluoride is a seriously bad thing, especially if you're having it in large amounts. Okay, you start looking into the pineal gland inside the mind, fundamental damage that can do, especially when you are trying to develop your intuition. Now, like I said, lots of people might not get it, and that's fine. But like I said at the start of the video, try to remain open-minded, okay? Because lots of us who have experienced this sort of research and this sort of information, some of us for years and years and years, okay? There's no way, once you flick that switch on, when you wake up, as it were, you can't turn it off. You can't. In fact, I tried really hard to go to being a sheep, and I lasted 5 seconds. True story. You can't. You really can't. So, like I said, try to remember that there's going to be a culmination of things leading to this agenda. Okay, I don't believe that it's going to be a one-trick thing which is going to do that huge amount of historical damage. It's going to be all sorts of things. Now, medications as well, pharmaceuticals. Now, personally, I try my very best to avoid them as much as possible, okay? Because it's often the case that when you are on medication, it's going to lead to a side effect, and there's going to be another medication to try and fix that side effect. And so it goes on and on and on. I witnessed this with my own eyes with my mother, who died in 2020. The amount of medications that she was on, and then something happened, oh, you need to take this now. She was taking so many, I'm pretty sure that contributed to her death. And I know some of you guys know people, whether they're like family, friends, or whatever it is, have had similar things. Pharmaceutical medications are not a good thing. Lots of people are dying needlessly because of it, okay? And I believe it all goes back to education. When you're young, you're taught to comply. Any authoritative figure you must believe in, because they wouldn't be there any otherwise. So doctors, a position of trust. Let me tell you this, all doctors are agents for pharmaceutical companies. The more pills and potions that they pass on to the general public, the more bonuses and awards they get. There was all sorts of talk years ago about certain doctors getting a free car, a free holiday, if they've pushed on X amounts of hundreds of these units, etc., from these companies, incentives. It's just incredible. So to summarize, like I said in the title of this, will you survive? Okay. I believe, Brian, we're doomed. I believe that the closer you are to nature and organic stuff, the better your chance of survival. The further you go away from that and you're heading into technology, latest stuff, false things like insecticides, pesticides put on your food, medications, bad food, bad drink, a bad environment to live in with fumes and all the rest of it, your chance of survival dwindle. Okay, they really do. So I've always been a keen advocate of people trying to do their best to find time to experience nature and get outside. Even grounding, taking your socks and shoes off, standing on the grass for 20 minutes a day, it will work wonders. Some of you might laugh and think I'm crazy, but don't knock it till you try it. This stuff actually works. Okay. Going back to medications. Now, there has been some reports. Now, at the moment, I'm finding it very, very hard to verify whether they're factual or correct. Okay. Now, it does seem that certain populaces on this planet are experiencing a decline in population. In some instances, the words sterile or sterilized are being touted. Now, how many of you have heard of this sorts of things going on? It's crazy. Which led me onto a film, and I watched a bit of this film because I love the film, and it's called Children of Men. Who has seen that film, Children of Men? Well, it's an awesome film. It's really, really good. In fact, it's got one of the best single shot action sequences of all time in any films, in my opinion. It's incredible how it captures you. But anyway, that aside, that film, it was the population at the time, no one was being born. And I think the youngest person in the world died. I think they were like 13 or a teenager, and the whole world was in mourning when that teenager died because that was the youngest person. That's how crazy that was. A Hobbit, thanks for that donation, sir. Yes, scary things. And there was a newborn baby in that film which had to be protected at all costs. I know it's probably fictional and all the rest of it, but you know, are we going to be seeing a decline in population? Like I said, all of these things combined together, I believe, are going to slowly decline the population. So if we quickly go on to this, like I said, when you look at the deaths today there and the growth today, they are pretty much level pegging. In fact, it seems too good to be true. Now, let me tell you this. About a month, 6 weeks ago, the amount of people being born was actually less than those who are dying. Yes. So it's very, very interesting to monitor that, okay? Because we are hearing all sorts of reports from India and some parts of China that the population growth is falling. Like I said, very, very hard to prove. But when you look at this agenda and the amount of money and brains behind it all, we're up against one seriously bad machine, okay? And this horrible thing seems to be rolling ahead. So we had the issue in 2020. In my personal opinion, that was a rehearsal. That was an exercise, okay? It wasn't real. As much as the mainstream media tried to convince people that it was in fact real. So it's very, very easy to forget what happened in 2020. Now, when you cast your mind back and you think, you remember seeing things with your own eyes. Yeah, do you remember going to supermarkets and seeing those great big long queues? Windsurfer, respect, awesome. Do you remember seeing those queues outside supermarkets to get in there? Okay, all of these lines, you know, the social distancing. You had to wear this. They put these big perspex screens up, and you had to have that QR code on your phone. That's another thing. We're going to show some of that in a sec. Now, I believe the QR code is absolutely going to have a part to play in this. And when I touched on earlier about money, I want to show you this. This was taken in the London Underground. Now, I can't confirm when this was taken, okay? Your DNA will be your data. And look at that image. It's a fingerprint with a QR code on it. And if you can just about see it out the corner of the screen, the future is full of opportunity. HSBC. So yes, scary stuff. Days of old, you'll see the barcode. No more, let's go in. QR codes are the thing. They really are. It was like a mass exercise which happened in 2020, and they rolled it out. They wanted to see how many people would fall for it. Okay, so they write down that number. Out of how many people left didn't, okay, write down that number. These exercises were taken part globally, different countries, different parts of countries. They had their different agendas, different programs to adhere to. And what I believe happened is all of this information and data was gathered based on public opinion, public awareness, the speed of medical distributions, etc., trying to lock the world down. Incidentally, the word lockdown comes from the penal system in America. When you're in prison, they lock you down in your cell. So it's literally what they've done. They tried to lock down the entire planet using the mainstream media as their huge mouthpiece to persuade people, oh my God, this thing is so dangerous. You all saw pictures in China of people literally dropping dead on the floor. Now, in reflection, that was absolutely a thing called crisis actors. Okay, and yes, there's so much information that was gathered in 2020. Okay, now people have that on their devices. They've all been stored away safely. Okay, you try and find that information now. Not happening, bro. Not happening. In fact, the rate of truth information online is literally melting away by the second right now as we speak. If you don't believe me, go and have a look. In fact, when I was thinking about the powers that be, something bad happens, they're probably going to go underground, okay? Forget going up into space. In my opinion, no one's ever been to space before. No one's been through that belt, that radiation belt, okay? No one, not a chance, okay? So they're going to be hiding underground. Now, I remember doing my research back in 2008, what up to 2012, intense research, I mean serious, and I still do. But let me tell you this, it is getting so difficult now to try and achieve the level of research that I was taking part in 2008. I remember going into Google was the main search engine back then, and you would go into DUMBs, deep underground military bases, and you will pull up a plethora of information with PDF files, images, videos, especially on YouTube, and all the rest of it. Now, no, it's all gone. In fact, a quick look tonight, and I found it absolutely impossible. One of the images I can show is this one. Now, some of you are aware of a place in America called Iron Mountain. Now, that is huge. Inside that mountain, it is absolutely massive. But there are lots and lots of these bases globally, all over the place. And obviously, they are meant to be hidden in secret. Okay, they don't want Urbex guys stumbling upon them and then pinging locations. So they're all concealed for a very good reason. So we look at things that we talked about earlier. And we said money. Now, let me show you this if you don't know already. Okay, look at the dollar symbol. You got the serpent and the staff. And you see where this is going? It's not what you seem. It's not what it seems at all. And you look at the House of Representatives, okay, up in the Capitol building. Now, who knows what that is? Like I said, I'm fully aware that some people would know, some people will not know. It's the fasci, okay? If you look left and right of the chair at the back, adorned either side of the stars and stripes, you will see this symbol, okay? Let that sink in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and all this is very new to you, it's fine. There is loads and loads and loads of this information out there. Let me just try and find it. Oh, damn it, where is it? It's really hard to find with these tabs up here. No, it's gone. I can't bloody find it anywhere. But no, that is pretty much the Mussolini thing. It comes from Rome, and it's the international symbol of fascism. Yes. So where all of the rules, the laws, etc. are coming out of America, yes, powers of symbols are with us, and they have been for a very long time. So some say that Rome, when it fell, it moved to America. That's the new Rome, okay? Capitol Hill, the Capitol building. Look at Rome. And in fact, if you want to really deep dive into that, look at the architecture of Washington, D.C. Unbelievable. And we're not even going to go into star forts. That's a whole other topic, okay? But all of this stuff is absolutely intrinsically linked to what's going to be going down between now and 2030 of how all of this is run. Now, we looked at the World Economic Forum before, and the cyber attack when they announced this was obviously 2 years ago. And who remembers on the YouTube videos when he had the thumbs down? Look at that, 2.9 thousand thumbs down and less than 1,000 thumbs up. So that is from the World Economic Forum about cyber attacks. Now, we've already covered this in a live stream because there are so many countries around the world who are being held ransom by ransomware, which is a truly scary thing. Now, let me try and find this. Dropped tonight, actually. In fact, let me I can remove some of these tabs because it's really confusing myself. Georgia Guidestones, global governance. Yes, that's another thing. Right, here we are. I've got it now. This happened a few days ago. Okay, our friend
champions here in Tianjin, China. This is a very special occasion for the World Economic Forum and myself, as we are returning to our summer Davos after 3 years, painful years of virtual gatherings due to the pandemic. The theme of this year's meeting is entrepreneurship, the driving force of global economy. We are living in a time of unprecedented change and disruption, driven by advances in science and technology, by intense geopolitical tensions, as well as by social and environmental challenges. All those factors will impact the future of humanity.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that. I had the volume right up. I hope you did. But yes, Mr. Evil himself, for sure. Now, I've always been saying this, that the people that you see publicly are not the real power. The real people of power you are never going to see. You are never going to know who they are. They could literally walk past you in the high street and you would never know who they are or what they're involved with. They are the unseen enemy, as it were. Okay, it's crazy. And we also look another thing towards all of this, where they're trying to get people from urban environments into cities to make it more easier to control. We've had obviously the 15-minute cities. Welcome to the real Hunger Games. Absolutely. I've been doing a big long 2-hour talk with a friend of mine who was an analyst who has really looked into 15-minute cities, and the stuff that is pulling out is insane. But not only that, we've also got this, the birth of AI, artificial intelligence. That is Amika. Okay. Now, we are already starting to see the very beginnings of people losing their jobs to AI. And in fact, when I remember researching, I think it was the middle of last year, I think it's on a video that I've done when I've done Intel updates or something like that, or possibly a live stream. I've done so many videos now. But I remember looking at the research on there, and I think the World Economic Forum, they were saying that people at school, they are going to be seriously needed to be trained in computer learning, coding, AI, algorithms. They seem to be the future jobs. Okay, that was all that was being put out there. Forget about your doctors, your nurses, your lorry drivers, your policemen. No, there was no mention of that at all. It was all about technology and rapid growth technology. If any of you guys are familiar with machine learning, it's crazy. And another thing which is becoming more and more apparent, let me just put it back onto the chat because I hate it if I've missed any donations because I can't see. When you go to the internet, you've got search engines. So you've got DuckDuckGo, you've got Brave, you've got Google, and you've got loads of other different search engines. Now, what I believe that we are going to see, and it's very hard to say when, some actually say that it will be this year. I hope to God that it isn't. But all of those search engines are going to go away. They're going to be gone. All you're going to have is something very similar to ChatGPT. Sorry, I'll keep getting it wrong. ChatGPT. Now, I've done a live stream on this recently, and that is a very scary thing because the questions that I was posing to this open AI, they call it, is all of the answers that I got back are heavily biased towards the agenda. You will find no truth there. And in fact, a good friend of mine, Jason Brashears, he debunked it very quick because the guy is so well read in certain aspects of real history. Okay, books from the 1800s, a bit like myself, I've got loads myself. And it's fascinating reading because I think he said from 1912 onwards, when the Federal Reserve and all of that sort of thing was established and it got into play, lots of history was being rewritten and edited from that point on. So you can only imagine what it's like on the internet. How easy is it to edit anything on the internet? Very, very simple. It's almost impossible to break into someone's house, take their book away, change all the words and put it back. It's not going to happen. But on the internet, absolutely it is. Now, when you see that happen, it's pretty much going to be the end of information on the internet. Okay, what you are going to be receiving from this AI algorithm or a group of AI algorithms which are going to be linked, you are not going to find what you need. It's going to be twisted, warped. In fact, the stuff that Jason, when he typed into the advanced research that he was doing based on the Phoenix event in 2040 and 2046, when he was looking into that and he's asked this open AI, the answers that he got back, when he looked at the research and the resource links provided to him by OpenAI, they didn't exist. They weren't there. They were made up. Yes, that AI, OpenAI, when you start really deep diving, no sources, I'm afraid. You go to dead ends. In fact, you're absolutely free to try it for yourself if you think I'm talking BS. Okay? Unbelievable. And it's heavily, heavily biased towards the agenda. And if you are going to be doing truth stuff, as it were, I hate that term, but it seems to be the common known term for describing this. If you are going to be going down that road, yeah, I think all of your searches are going to be logged as well. And that could go against you in a social credit system, which we are rapidly moving towards. I hasten to add. Oh, what's just happened on here? Oh, what? Why doesn't this tell me? Graham. Oh my God, Margaret, you angel. Darren, Linda, Teresa on PayPal. Thank you ever so much. I don't know why I didn't get alerted on that. I'm so sorry if I've missed it on there, because I'm trying not to break my concentration. Margaret, special thanks. In fact, you can probably see the pictures behind there. So yes, all of that is literally coming down the pipe and part of their thing. Who remembers the film 2001 Space Odyssey with HAL, and how that AI turned against the crew, pretty much wiped them all out? Okay, I don't like and I do not trust artificial intelligence one iota. And then when you want to look into a potential thing, because we know that the development of drones is astonishing. Now that technology is advancing so fast, I think it's going to blow the Joe on the street's mind of the maneuverabilities, the ranges, what do they call it? Weapons mountable, etc. Insane. And you go back to films. Now there is a lot of stuff hidden in films from our past. Who remembers this one? The Terminator. Yes. Absolutely will not stop. So yes, when you start seeing all of these things like recruitment figures in the armed forces are falling at the highest rate in history, by the way it's looking. So when you're seeing all these wars and rumors of wars, who's going to be fighting these wars? Okay. Wouldn't it be easier to use the technology if it's available, which it is, and it's evolving exponentially? Now, people need to fully understand the term exponentially. It is happening faster and faster and faster. Okay. So the reality of robotics, and you look at what's going on in Japan and China, and of course, Boston Dynamics in America, insane. And guess what? That's what's publicly being put out there. Okay, so when you see all of these silly little dog robots stumbling around and all the rest of it, that's what they're putting out there publicly. I hasten to bet that they are a lot more advanced ones which are not being made public. A hell of a lot more, in fact. Okay, yeah, crazy stuff. Let me just check if all of that's done. Yep, that's cool. Yeah, all of that stuff is very real, and I don't see it being too long before we're actually going to be seeing soldiers replaced with robots. Now, I know some of you might laugh, etc., but if you can see the growth rate of robotics development globally, it's mad. It will blow your mind. And I know some of you have been looking into this already. Most people probably haven't. But like I said, most of it is only being released publicly. How much technology is available, but outside of the public domain? I mean, we've got our smartphones, right? And yes, I do cover up the little camera. I know some of you guys do too. But yes, it's just growing crazy. Now, like I said, we went back earlier to weather, because when we looked at the 3 key things which we pulled up on the World Economic Forum website about the things which they are outlining as the biggest problems that humanity faces, okay, one of them was climate, weather. Now, as I said earlier, I believe if there was no people alive on this planet, the planet would be doing its cyclical thing, okay? It always does and it always will do, okay? But, now there is a but there. When you add into that equation weather manipulation. Now, some people, especially if you're new, you probably think I'm crazy. But like I said at the foot of this video, what's the difference between conspiracy theory and fact? About 6 months, okay? Come back in 6 months after you've had a look around and yeah, you'll see. But the harder it is to find good information out there, it's getting harder. Now, my heart really goes out to anyone who woke up in 2020 until now. My heart really, really genuinely goes out to you guys. I've been awake, 15, 16 years? So I've had a long time to accept it, to process the information, to really finely tune my intuition where I know I'm going to be okay, heart and heart. Okay, so there's people out there who haven't got to that stage yet. Now, all of this information which is coming out now is absolutely overwhelming, and I really do feel for you guys. Oh wow, check it out. Thank you, Loving Lake Living from the US, I guess, or Canada. Thank you very much indeed. So yes, it's going to be really hard to find information, and I'm so glad that I've still got my research material from all of them years ago, because a very quick experiment, which I touched on earlier, was looking into the deep underground military bases online. There's hardly anything. There's hardly anything. It's absolutely insane what's going on. In fact, let's just go there. Right, let's see if I can pull. yeah, this is worth a share. Okay, so this is proven a point. This is making a point. Okay, so bearing in mind when I went doing all of this research all these years ago, the stuff that I've found is incredible. But look what you find now. Most of it is about this here. Some purposefully leaked intel from Iran. That's pretty much all it is. The same pictures of Iran. Okay, the same pictures. There's hardly anything else. And I can tell you, hand on heart, when I looked into all of this years ago, you would have 50 screens full of these pictures, and most of them would be different from each other. They're all pretty much repeated, all of these bases. Okay, they really are. They are literally whitewashing information in real time. Now, what would be an interesting experiment to do is if you look at this search I'll put in here on Google, deep underground base. Okay, deep underground base. If you go 6 months or a year's time, typed in that, it would be interesting to see side by side with this live stream what I'm seeing here. This amount of information and intel which is being presented is clown world stuff. This is a joke. Like I said, the stuff that I was looking at years ago, there was so much more. You could write books. You could write a 500-page book and pack it with thousands and thousands of images. Good luck now. It's being whitewashed. It's disappearing. So it would be interesting if you wanted to come back in time 6 months from now, watch this part of the video and do the same search. It'd be really interesting to see what results you get, because it is being hidden big time. What else have we got? So weather manipulation as well. So who has heard of HAARP, the High Aurora Advanced Research Project? Some people have, some people won't. Now, I was led to believe when I started looking into this that there was only one in Alaska. No, there are several. In fact, there's one here in Wales. Believe it or not far from Aberystwyth. You can go and do a search and find it there for yourself. It's an array. It's a lot smaller than Alaska, but nonetheless, it is the same. Now, I've got a friend who worked in Alaska for 1 year, and he had access to all areas. And the stuff that he was telling me, and he has been out there talking about this, Eric J. Hecker. Eric J. Hecker, Antarctica. Do a search on it. The stuff which he has been revealing and disclosing, blow your mind. That array at that station, so powerful. He is under the impression that led to an earthquake in New Zealand when they fired it up. So absolutely, weather can be manipulated. So why wouldn't they use that technology? And in fact, if you want to go back and do a bit of history on it, the HAARP project, it was invented by a guy, an American guy, I believe, that wanted to improve the weather conditions in Ethiopia so they can grow crops, crowd seeding, etc. So he devised this apparatus and it worked. And it didn't take too long for the US government to jump all over it and take it over. And then from then on, these things have popped up all around the world, and we are seeing a fundamental change in our weather patterns. Yes, I know it's drink time. So yes, absolutely. So why wouldn't they use that technology to their advantage to manipulate the weather to make it as bad as what it would have been without it, and then tell us all about the carbon stuff and sustainability, like we touched on with the dictionary earlier. But not only can it do cloud seeding, it can do so much more. It can do floods, droughts, winds. Now, winds covers a multitude of types within that sector. So you're looking at hurricanes, tornadoes, all of that stuff, okay? Earthquakes and volcanoes. Now, we have seen a huge rise in those. And yes, some of it is to do with the sun. I'm fully aware of that with the cycles, the solar minimum, the grand solar minimum we're in now. Yes, that has a part to play. But when you put the sprinkling of HARP technologies on top of that, absolutely you are going to see ramifications of those results go skyward. Let me just summarize through this note section here. Yep, that's done. Right, before we go any further, just real quick, it's drink time. Now, I've expected lots of people to be naughty within this video. So for you guys, I've got myself a drink. Look at that. Trolls Tears. Yes, 6% by volume. And that is what I'm going to be drinking tonight. So who has heard, I can't remember the term, but the more people that knock you, the more people that hate you, the more people try to silence you, you know you're on the right track. So yes, I have collected, it didn't take me long to collect this amounts of tears from my trolls in this. I've got tons out there. Oh man, they're crying. And I'll tell you what, like I said to my lovely friend earlier, when I go for a pee, this is going to be filtered and reversed into really good stuff. Okay, so we are absorbing all of the troll stuff and we're just throwing it back out there, changed into something positive and something awesome. Like I say, when you wake up, I know that's a crazy term. Cheers. Lose the fear. I can give a toss what anyone says about me. Fill your boots. It's good because it adds to the algorithm. It's awesome. So all the time people comment and all the rest of it is cool because YouTube loves interactions. Every time you interact, fair play. Thanks to the trolls. I appreciate this. Smells nice. Well done. Trolls Tears, 6%, really nice stuff. So we forge ahead. Of course we do. Now, believe it or not, this was emailed to me from a friend of mine. So it's okay, it's verified, it's trustworthy, right? This isn't from some nefarious guy I just do not know. Now, I like to write this down. Already, now they are putting carbon valuations next to purchases. Okay, let that sink in. They're doing it now. Now, when I researched into this, from what I gathered based on the sources that I was looking into and the projections of this, some of it isometric projections, if you understand what I'm talking about there, this was not supposed to be rolled out to Q3. Okay, so we're currently in Q2 at the moment, going into Q3, and it's out now. Okay, so if you don't know what I'm saying, it's basically, it was from, all I'm going to say is Black Heart. I'm not going to say his real name, but he was using the Aqua credit card. Okay, Aqua credit card. Now, if I can find the email, it said an amount of carbon that was used within a particular transaction. Let me see, where is it? Because I want to get this right. Show history, that's quicker. Right. Here we go. Apparently, I've generated 12.8 kilograms of carbon by spending just £10 in his wallet in my local co-op. Carbon credit score is already on its way. Now, this is happening now. So if you manage to stay this far, fair play to you, because this really needs to get sunk in to everyone's heads. Now, I really do. And I'm just saying that I want everyone to share this video because people need to fully understand what I'm talking about. This is the most important part of the video as a prepping perspective, okay? Carbon credits. We've talked about this before on other videos, but some of you new guys here, now hear this. Everything which is produced has an amount of carbon within it, okay? Think of a television set, something completely off the top of my head, random, okay? A TV set. Now think of all of the individual components and materials that are needed to build, assemble a television set. Lots. All of the little chips, all of the plastics, all of the glass, all of the crystal, all of the different metals, all of the rubber. There's so many different things which go into building a TV set, which, to be honest, the quality of televisions now compared to when I was a kid back in the 70s, worlds apart. And in fact, when I was down visiting my father in Portsmouth, we went into, I think it is Curry's or Comet, whatever they are, and I was blown to bits. 8K TVs and stuff. They're huge, massive, absolutely insane, and the quality was just incredible. Like I said, there's technology out there which is way better than that, but we believe that this is the best that there is. No sirree, pop. There's more, much more incredible tech out there that most of us will believe, okay? So when you think about all of the carbon that goes into making that, you can buy a really good quality TV for £200-300, maybe £400-500, depending on what you want. Now, get this. When this carbon stuff comes in, you look at the price of that TV set, because you and everyone are going to have to pay a carbon tax on top of every single item, everything. And the more carbon which goes into producing that item, the more expensive it's going to be. So we've already talked about the materials for our little example with our television set, okay? Now, these little bits of kit and equipment that goes into the TV, they've all got to come from somewhere, okay? So they've all got to be shipped, flown, freighted, boat, train, etc. to that facility to be assembled. That's a massive amount of carbon straight away before they even put it together. Once it's put together, it's got to be packed, it's got to be distributed. Okay, so from every single tiny little piece, every single thing, and trust me, they will be tracking everything. There will be little QR codes on frigging everything. Everything will be tracked for transactions globally. They're already doing it now. Fact. Everything is trackable, okay? Unless you're outside the system, like some of us, we use cash, we use real things, we don't go through controlled measures, should we say. But the majority of it is. Now, I would urge you, if you can afford it, get as much practical, important things as you possibly can as soon as possible. Because at some point, might even be this year or next year, the prices of things are going to be so expensive because they are all going to have that carbon tax put onto it. Everything. There's going to be nothing worse if you're struggling to pay bills like most of us, etc., and you're living on the bread line, because we're getting attacked from everywhere. We've got energy bills, and I really do feel for the elderly, okay, because trying to keep warm as you're old, your blood gets thinner, you feel the cold more, especially with the youngsters, with little babies and little 4 or 5-year-old kids. Everyone's going to be struggling and suffering to keep warm. Energy prices are going to be going up very soon as well, okay? That's another video I need to do about the government's energy thing, which has changed. So all of this is just going on all the time, and it's so much for the mind to try and comprehend. But when you factor in how hard, how expensive things are going to be within the next 12 months, this is looking that way. It's going to be so expensive, and you would have missed the boat. You will not be able to afford it, okay? Think about a sleeping bag, okay? You need a sleeping bag for whatever reason. You can get a really good quality military one for 40-50 quid now. And if you was to try and replicate that item in the civilian market, you can pay probably £400 or £500 for the same specification of quality sleeping bag. You try and get that 12 months from now, that £50 sleeping bag, 500. The amount of carbon it's going to take to get all of those materials to manufacture it, like we said earlier, to get it out there, it's going to be so freaking expensive, okay? Luckily, Thus, those of us who had the foresight to plan and prepare as far back as you want to go, we've already got that stuff, but not everyone has. And I really do feel for people who are waking up, especially 2020. I mean, that's a mind shake to have all of that information coming in. What's fake news? What's real? Oh my God, it's happening now. When I was looking into this stuff years ago, it was like, okay, you can see all of this happening from a long way back. So I started preparing for it. So like I said at the start of this video, this is a massive video for me because people ask me lots of questions about prepping. They don't ask me why. This is the reason why. That's it. It's out there. Over 100,000 people. I promised myself I would do it, and I've done it. This is the reason why I'm preparing. Yes, I've been on the TV and lots of people know me when I'm out in public and stuff. And they said to me, what are you preparing for? And two things, and I stand by them even today. This was back in 2012, okay? I'm preparing for the fall of the economy and civil unrest. Them two things are going to directly impact the average Joe in this country before anything else, okay? The economy, now that's insane. The amount of debt, I mean, let's have a look. Always makes me laugh when I see this because it's just absolutely friggin' insane. Now, some of you have probably seen this. Do you know what? I'm getting sick and tired. Just look at it. Check this out. This is right now, okay? Look at the debt. Look at all that money being spent. Now, it doesn't take a genius to understand or come to a conclusion that it is impossible to pay that back. It's absolutely impossible to pay that money back. Not a chance. And to be honest, when I first saw this 15 years ago, it blew my mind. And I'm looking at it now, and oh my God. America, I'm really sorry to say this, but you're screwed. Big time. Oh my God, just look at it. There's so many numbers going on there. Debt per citizen, look at that. 96,300. You can see it there. Wow. $96,330 per citizen. Now, I don't know anyone who has a debt of $93,000. And if I did, I've got no idea how they're going to pay that back. Now, I still don't know if when you die or when you leave this simulation experience, shall we say, when you ditch the meat suit and let it rot away, when that happens, does your debt go with you or does it get passed on to next of kin, family, etc.? Personally, I believe it should go with you because it's your debt, you're the one, it's nothing to do with your kids. If someone had a debt of that amount of money and it got passed on to their children to pay, well, that is absolutely 100% beyond bang out of order, to put it mildly, okay? Absolutely. So then all of this stuff is coming together. So you're looking at central bank digital currency there. They're already piloting it in some parts of the UK now. Yes, now. They're doing it now. So it's the same message which I say to as many people as possible everywhere I go. And if you don't believe me, tough. It's fact. Everywhere I go, those who know me, especially when I meet them in shops and stuff, every time I meet a cashier in any shop, I always say the same. I said, here's some cash. And do you know what? It's probably, I don't know, I think it's more than 50% of the time they offer me one of them bloody card readers. You know, where you put your card in it, the contactless payment thing. More than 50% of the time. Now, when they see me with cash, especially the youngsters, they look friggin' dumbfounded. They really do. They're like, oh my God, I've got to do some sums now. Well, this is how it's going. I mean, look at the average kid at school. Look at the quality of the handwriting. It's ridiculous. And do you know why? Because they're spending more time on keyboards and they're losing the skills of handwriting. Now, I'm an artist. I studied art a long time ago, art and graphics and designs. Okay, I used to write calligraphy when I was very young. You try and get like a 6 or 7-year-old to write nicely now, forget it. You ask them to do like mental arithmetic, nah, fall over. They need a calculator. You look at, say, a teenager who goes out into the woods or going out for a hiking walk. They take a GPS. They don't even know how to read a compass. Can you see over time how it's all being dumbed down? It's insane. And it all comes back to education. It really does. Look how intelligent people were in the 20s and look how intelligent kids are now. No. And in fact, that is a paradox, because when you look at intelligence, that word, okay, so you do well at school, you get all of your good grades, you go to college, then you go to university and you get A levels and all this stuff, and you get all of these doctrines and stuff. Do you know what that actually proves? What that actually proves is you are very compliant. You've done everything that we've asked from you, and we're rewarding you with these letters and numbers. Okay? It's different. How many of us were at school and we used to hate it? The amount of times I stared out that window, daydreaming, thinking, I don't want to be here. I'm not really learning anything. I'm not being creative. I'm literally being told what to do. Open this page at book so-and-so or whatever it is. Write this down. That's on the blackboard. Yes, we have blackboards. Now they changed it to whiteboards because that's racist. Can you see the clown world we're living in now? And how many of you got the blackboard rubber thrown at your head? I did. I was turning around talking to my mates and then bang. Couldn't do that now. Not with all that woke stuff. No, sir. Oh my God. Here we go. This looks awesome. Don't panic. Just take one day at a time to get prepared. Wow. Fundamentally correct. Yes, well said. And thank you for that donation as well. That's absolutely true. I do understand that this information is going to overwhelm many people. And I can't tell you how many people will watch this video. I've got no idea. But 2030, that is when they want 8 billion people gone. Gone. Like I said, how are they going to do it? Crazy. But let me tell you this. Now, this is a bit left field. Some of you will understand. Most of you probably won't. It's all well and good dwelling in the 3D stuff. Okay, so the 5 sense stuff. So what you can see, touch, taste, and smell, and all the rest of it. Okay, it's very easy to talk about that stuff. You start going outside of that, the 6th sense, and the stuff. My mate Eric Hecker, the guy in Alaska I'll talk to you about. Now, he calls it the 20%. Now, whatever our experiences are, 20% of them, thereabouts, which is what he has come to the conclusion of being a rough estimate number. 20% of all of our experiences are pretty much unexplained. How many people have seen UFOs? How many people have seen ghosts? How many people have heard strange things? How many people have had deja vu? Lots of people have, but how much do you talk about it? Really? How many of you are scared to talk about it? Fear of being ridiculed. This is the thing. When you wake up, right, you lose that fear. You do. Once that switch goes on, don't give a toss. And you will develop your intuition. You will meet the right people at the right time for a reason. Guarantee it. As long as you follow those signs and go with it, forget about that. That will talk you out of what that's saying 100% of the time. You start listening to that more and you will end up where you need to be. You will probably end up being creative. Maybe not end up, but exacerbating your skills. Okay? You are going to develop being more creative. You're going to help more people. Inadvertently, probably waking people up, if you want to use that term. And if you stay on that path and you're true to it, and then you really finally start to understand that whatever you project, whatever you mull over, intent, all of that stuff, whatever you do with that, and it starts to happen, the only way it's going to happen is if you need to take physical footsteps towards it, focus on it, forget about all the crap, Focus straight on that. And guess what? It will happen. Things will happen in your favor. Okay. Now, I've got a really good friend, Jason, who goes massively deep into this stuff of archaics. A phenomenal guy. He's been on his channel. You're more than welcome to find it. Jason Brecheers. You type Funky Prepper space Jason Brecheers, and you'll see the interview that we've done. Now, that guy, incredible about this stuff. So once you've come to the conclusion that you're in that field and things are going that way for you, don't worry about this 2030 stuff, because you're not going to be affected. You will not be affected. It's only going to be the people who are going to be affected by that 8 billion. They are going to be the people who went along with the program in 2020. Those sorts of people, okay? The people who fundamentally believed, based on their indoctrination at schools with the education system, yes, do this. Okay, compliance. Those people who comply, blindly accept orders, follow the rules, any person in some sort of authoritative position, they are going to be the ones who aren't going to be here in 2030. Those of you who are waking up, who you are awake, and yes, I know that term sucks. Should we replace it with aware? Awareness. That's probably better, isn't it? So those of you who are aware stand a much better chance of surviving this stuff, because do you know why? Once your intuition and your intent and what you project out there is all positive and you're creating, trust me, that path will open up for you and you can literally go anywhere and you'll be fine. Yes, you are going to be tested. Of course you are. Okay. You really need to experience dark, bad stuff. We call it self-work. Okay. Self-work, shadow work's another one. I've looked into Michael Tessarian, a really good friend of mine, and we go deep into that stuff. Okay. Fascinating stuff about psychology. That stuff, once you start going down that road and you try to understand, wow, you can intend and you can create so much stuff. Once you're in that realm, nothing's going to affect you. You'll be fine. But like I said, you are going to have things thrown at you, and they're tests. Those tests, you need to experience bad stuff now and again. Okay? It's all going to be for a reason. It's all going to be how it should be. For every individual, it's going to be different. Okay? Just when you think things are great, oh my God, the cars don't work, or something's happened, or oh my God, the window's just smashed, or oh, I've just lost my job. All of these things happen. But guess what? Whilst you're going through that bad period, okay, try your best to break it down analytically, prepare, get your prepping head on, logically, shut it all off and concentrate on one step at a time, 1 minute at a time sometimes, 1 day at a time, one problem at a time. And you logically work through those. And eventually, you're going to get through that bad situation experience, should we say. And once you've come through that, what I do, you don't have to, but what I do is I look back upon that bad thing and I analyze my response to those bad times. How did I behave? How could I conduct myself better should other bad things potentially happen in the near and distant future? Okay? Learning, evolving, growing. That's what we need to do. And once you start figuring that out, all of this prepping stuff is absolutely essential. It's needed. Okay, yes, it's 3D stuff, but you know, we are in a simulation. As some people believe it, some people don't. It's entirely up to you. Everyone is free to believe whatever they want. Okay, that's cool. And yes, you'll be fine. Like I say, if you're not buying any of this stuff, then good luck, because you're going to need it. Because the way it's going with the powers that be, with all of that money, all of that hideous, evil brain stuff, making this stuff happen, because no one seems to be fighting against it or doing anything. Yeah, the French are putting up a brave fight, but nothing seems to change. They still end up having all this crap forced upon them. So I believe that's the way out of this stuff, to save yourself. Now, I know some of you guys are religious, and what I believe is everyone has the right to believe whatever they want, as long as you don't put it onto anyone else. Okay? Because I believe that it's your true path. You hold that sacred and private and true, and you run with whatever you want to run with. but don't put it onto anyone else. Oh my God. Matthew. Oh, look at that. He's a member as well. Another member. We get loads of members in the house. Thank you very much for that, sir. That's awesome. Oh my God, you guys blow me away. What's that? Ginger Hedge Monkey 1. I love you. Thanks. That's awesome. That really, really is. Oh, Lordy. And also, Martin over on PayPal. Dude, thank you. And oh wow, someone's just got another Lifesaver jerry can as well, and that's awesome because they are currently 10% off. No one's doing 10% off on those. They're very expensive and well made. If you're interested, all that stuff's below the video. Yes, there's prepping things in there which will save you money and it will help this channel as well. But most of it is only for a limited time, for about a month, and then it goes back at the full price. So if you do need stuff, absolutely. Yep, I've already pulled it, mate. Sorry, I've not had much. So, 2030. Yeah, scary times. But only if you let it, okay? Most of it's out there. But the majority of it's in there. I know lots of you guys get me. And I know lots of you didn't have that stuff. And I know not many of you guys done that stuff. Fair play to you. I remember walking around in Tesco's in Havant. Big, massive, it's a superstore, one of the big Tesco's. And on many occasions, I was the only one who wasn't wearing this. Yeah. And I know there's many of you watching this as well. Angie, yeah, fair play. Because it's the people who don't comply, who follow their intuition no matter what. No one can tell you what to do. At the end of the day, you're a human being here on planet Earth. No one could say to you, you've got to put a mask on. No, don't. Make me. Have some attitude as well. That's important, okay? Because like I said, I've been trolled for so long. I get people saying, you're no good, you're a fraud, you're fake, you're full of BS, you're rubbish, and you know, and all of that. I'll get that all the time. But do you know what? I drink this. Yes, sir. I drink this. And it really helps. It's amazing. So having that attitude sprinkled on top of that very important, essential intuitional development will absolutely get you through most stuff. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for taking part in this live stream. Everyone who's donated has blown my mind. Margaret, you're a very naughty lady, but I love you. And Rachel, and there's loads of new moderators on there. So I hope that the chat was not too bad. If it was too fast, let me know, and I'll see if I can slow it down next time, because you know we've had 2,000 plus on here, and every 30 seconds it can be a bit crazy. Every single person who's taken part in this chat, fair play to you. Really appreciate it. And of course, you guys watching the replay, staying right to the end, respect. And I would really appreciate it if you could share this video on all of the other platforms, because I'm not on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But this is my purpose, and this is me being creative, amongst other things. Like, I was really chuffed with that trailer. Some of you guys saw the trailer on the start. Yeah, I love doing trailers. But anyway, you guys are awesome, and the moderators, fantastic. Not forgetting the members, all of the new members in there. I think we've got over 40 now, which is insane. You guys rock. And before I go, any information that you want about links to all of this stuff which I've talked about, and anything else about contacting me and all the other social media platforms, click more below this video and you'll see loads of information. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you're good to go. And if you can, subscribe to the newsletter, because they could take me out like that. So you guys have an awesome weekend. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.